My grandparents give each grandkid enough to buy a house when we graduate from college. We have to get through college on our own. My older brother made it through with some debt, so he paid that off and still had enough for a 50% down payment and money in the bank for emergencies. I was lucky enough to qualify for a scholarship and a bursary through my father's employer. When I graduated, I bought a small house near public transportation to take the train to work. A few years later, I met and married my husband. He met my cousin Yvonne at my wedding. She's beautiful. I know I'm not ugly, but she's gorgeous. They started an affair about 3 months after the wedding. I found out because they're both stupid. I was hurt, but more than that, I was furious. I wanted to kick him out immediately and divorce him. Instead, I waited almost 6 more months. A month before she graduated from university, I went to my grandparents and broke down. I told them that I just found out about the cheating and that I was shattered, that my own family would do that to me. I stayed with them for a couple of weeks. My husband tried to get to me, but I wouldn't talk to him. My grandmother helped me get a lawyer for the divorce during this time. My cousin has basically been shunned by the family now. My house was a premarital asset and was covered in our prenup. I gave my ex 1 month to move out. My grandparents are old school about marriage and family. They are beyond angry. They said they couldn't fix what she did, but they could clarify their displeasure. They gave me her money. She took out student loans because she knew she could repay them. She also chose a degree that was not exactly in the STEM areas, so she will not be making a great salary when she graduates. My ex is begging me to let him stay because he loves me. I said that he wouldn't sleep with other women if he loved me. I know he doesn't. He just did the math and found out how messed up he is. My aunt and uncle are angry at me for screwing their baby out of so much money. I want to be clear here. It was never my intention to take her money. I just wanted our grandparents to not give it to her. My getting it was just frosting on the cake. Right now, the family is divided, but mostly on my side. They do not want to openly disagree with my grandparents. Everything is over and done with. The divorce will take longer, but my money is in my retirement account. My ex is out of my house, and my cousin can go screw herself. I feel guilty about not confronting them immediately and bringing my grandparents into it. My ex asked me how I knew. I told the idiot his texts were all showing up on our tablet before he deleted them. I had screenshots of everything. So I guess I'm asking if I went too far in this situation. Am I the idiot for using my husband's affair with my cousin against them? Not the idiot. Your cousin did this to herself. Your aunt and uncle can pay for her. You didn't ask your grandparents to do what they did. They have every right to spend and give their money however they choose. Your cousin tried to play you but got played herself. You dodged a bullet by ending this when you did. Your ex is dumb. It's also sad your aunt and uncle care more about money than they care about their child's actions. The cousin didn't accidentally fall into your husband's bed. Both of them are acting like idiots. Both have to face the consequences of their actions. Indeed, like many normal people, I have been with my partner for a long time and met many of her gorgeous cousins and workmates. They never thought, yo, gotta have intimacy, because what the heck? Opie's ex met her beautiful cousin at his own wedding and had to ruin their lives? Sad. And dear cousin, did she have to take him because I am gorgeous? Sad, sad. Yeah, they both did. However, if I got off on sleeping with married men, I would try to at least not sleep with my cousin's husband, especially if I hadn't been given my inheritance by my old school grandparents. So she definitely lost out more, but oh well. Anyway, good for you, OP. This is how you get revenge properly. Well done. Hilarious how even if someone disagrees with your grandparents, they can't say a word or they get nada. Your aunt and uncle are angry because their baby got screwed over. Their baby is a whore and they're idiots. They should have apologized and punished their daughter appropriately themselves, but they probably never did before too, resulting in her rotten behavior. This was all a few weeks ago. I have a friend, I'll call her Lindsay. I use the term friend loosely at this point as I no longer consider her a friend. We're both in our early 30s. I've known her for a decade, though we've become considerably less close over the last few years. When I was trying to get pregnant, Lindsay told me she couldn't picture me as a mother and that not everyone needs to be a parent. It's okay if I don't want to be. When I was pregnant, after years of trying, Lindsay texted me late one night, I think she was intoxicated, saying she'd done way more with kids than I have, she would be a way better mother than me, and I have options. She was implying adoption. Lindsay has no children, but she babysat or worked as a nanny almost a decade ago. Based on those comments, I decided not to invite her to my baby shower. My son was born a few months ago. He was named after a family member who tragically passed. His name is not super common, but it's a very normal name. It's in the top 200 names in the US, maybe even the top 300. A few weeks ago, I texted a photo of my child to a group chat Lindsay was in. My friend jokingly calls him a long name, like if his name was James, my friend would call him James and the Giant Peach. His name isn't James, but you get the point. Lindsay said, "That's awful." I said, "What?" She said, "Your child's name is cringy as heck and he'll get made fun of as a kid and teenager." I snapped and said, "When you have kids, you can do whatever you want with them and name them whatever you want, but you do not have kids. Let me do what I want with mine." She never replied. Lindsay reached out to me on the side and told me she recently found out she may never be able to have kids. She said my comment was cruel. I'm sorry to hear that, but it doesn't make her comments about my child okay. She hasn't spoken to me since. Am I the idiot? Edit, to be clear, my son was already born when she commented about his name. Not the idiot. Your friend Lindsay was cruel and petty and perhaps jealous because she'd been trying to get pregnant before and couldn't, so she took her disappointment out on you. Anyone who claims the kinds of things you said she was saying isn't really a friend to begin with, in my opinion. I'd move on from her as a person in my life. But why are you worried about this rude woman? She didn't care about you when she made all those nasty comments. Why care? Why even be friends with someone like her? Really? Enjoy your little guy and put her at a distance. Sure, it's sad that Lindsay can't have children. Still, this personal tragedy does not give her the right to talk about other people's motherhood and babies in a derogatory manner. Do I understand why she's lashing out? Yes. Do you have the right to call her out on this? Also, yes. I, 28 male, need some perspective on a situation with my wife, 28. We've been married for 4 years and I thought we were on the same page about staying close to my family. However, recently she brought up the idea of moving away and I expressed that I wasn't willing to do so. Now she's upset with me and I wonder if I'm the idiot. Let me give you some context. I come from a close-knit family. My parents are both 60 years old and I have siblings named John, 30 male, Matteo, 26 male, Isabel, 24 female, and Dinah, 22 female. We all live within a few miles of each other, and we have a tradition of having family dinner every Sunday. I genuinely love spending time with my family, which brings me much joy. Before we got married, I made it clear to my wife, Trisha, that I would not negotiate on moving away from my family. She seemed okay with it then, and I believe she genuinely enjoyed being around them, as they all get along well. However, Trisha has recently started bringing up the idea of moving away. She wanted to explore new places and not stay in the same city forever. While I understand her perspective, I feel strongly about staying close to my support system and the people I love. Moving would significantly reduce the time I spend with my family, as my work and time with Trisha already take up most of my schedule. I cherish the weekly family dinners and our bond, and don't want to give that up. When I told Trisha about my stance on not moving, things got heated between us. She expressed dissatisfaction with staying so close to my family, calling it weird. I understand that she may not have the same kind of relationship with her family, so it might be hard for her to understand. However, I firmly believe that my family is an integral part of my life and I don't want to compromise. In the heat of the argument, I told Trisha that if she wanted to move, she was welcome to do so, but I would not be joining her. I didn't mean it as an ultimatum, but rather as an acknowledgement that we have different desires regarding our living situation. Since then, she's been angry with me, accusing me of prioritizing my family over her, and she hasn't spoken to me. So, am I the idiot for refusing to move away from my parents and telling my wife she's welcome to go if she wants to? I genuinely don't want to hurt her or make her feel unimportant, but I also don't want to give up the closeness I share with my family. I've met a shocking number of people who have the mindset of, why would I ever put someone else above my family? My brain can just genuinely not compute that mindset. Sorry, but you are the idiot. I think you need to have a weekend here and there where you don't see your family and focus on your marriage. She's telling you she doesn't feel important to you. Listen to her if you don't want to lose her. Right? It almost sounds like his wife is just around to keep him company in between these family get-togethers, which are his real priorities. I don't care how nice my in-laws were, weekly dinners would be a heck no. Monthly, yeah, I could see that, but every damn weekend? God no. Opie, you're an adult. You need to decide who your priority is, your wife or your family. It's obvious he'd rather lose her than move away from his family. Honestly, he can live his life however he wants, but good luck finding any woman willing to put up with it. I see a vision of OP's future. He's 55. He's taking care of his parents, now elderly, with one of his siblings. The other siblings have developed lives and enough children to only stop by once a month or once every 2. Instead of hanging out with his wife, he's a confirmed bachelor. He spends his days complaining to his remaining sibling about his witch of an ex. My 34 male pre-tween son Jackson needed to have his tonsils removed, and the surgery was scheduled for Monday. Since it was a week away, my ex and I told our family about it. On the day of the surgery, it was just me and the ex at the hospital. It took an hour to prep him, and the surgery was about 30 minutes. There were some complications, like his blood pressure dropping too low, probably because of the anesthesia, which was the first warning sign that the anesthesia didn't mix well with him. The doctor said the nurses were getting him to his room and checking his vitals, and we could see him in 30 minutes. Out of the blue, my ex's parents, her husband and his 2 kids came in. They had balloons and presents, and I felt they were overdoing it, but whatever. I was angry that she didn't tell me that they were coming. A few minutes after that, a nurse came and said he needed Dad because Jackson was hysterical from the anesthesia. Most of the time, kids are zonked out, but my son was crying and screaming for me. I had never seen him like that, like he was high or something. I cuddled and comforted him, and the circus came through the door. My ex brought in everyone, and they were loud. Jackson didn't recognize them and started freaking out. His stepbrother started laughing and recording it. His stepdad kept trying to kiss him, and his grandparents were just obnoxious. I asked everyone if they could pipe down because Jackson was getting upset. My ex told me not to be rude, and I said to get the heck out. I didn't invite any of these people into the room. You did. Her mom said, yes, we were invited. I said, get out. All of you before I have you thrown out. Everyone but my ex left. My ex is still expecting me to apologize to everyone. I'm open to a conversation, but I do not intend to apologize if they can't acknowledge my experience. I was totally rude and so were they. I'm also angry that my ex invited everyone without even telling me. This isn't some school play. And no, my son has no memory between the time they drugged him at 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. when he sobered up. Oh heck no, not the idiot. Coming out of anesthesia is one of the freakiest and most vulnerable things a person can experience. I'm shocked the hospital allowed such a crowd in. After each of my surgeries, no one's been allowed into my room until I gave the okay. In your son's case, the staff should not have allowed anyone in until you gave them the okay. I'd be raising holy heck with the administration about that. Maybe your ex bullied them, but I'd still be angry about that. Yes, I can't believe the mother would let the stepkids laugh at him. She let the stepbrats record the child in a vulnerable state. I'd be so damn angry. And they're probably thinking about posting this on TikTok. If you raise your kids like this, you are an idiot. I start doubting he's safe with them. She clearly cares more about her new family. That's a level where I'd be asking for full custody. No wonder kiddo wanted Dad when he was scared. I'd be tempted to send them a not apology like, I'm sorry you were offended. I asked you to get out when you thought it was all right to barge in on my son, who was severely upset and having a medical reaction, and then film and make fun of him for his condition and traumatize him. Jesus, I can see why she's your ex. My son Robbie, 25, got married to my amazing daughter-in-law Ella, 25 female, last year. They met and started dating in college, and Robbie brought Ella home that first Christmas they were together. She became part of the family immediately. She told me on several occasions pre-wedding that her family were not the greatest people and that she had a very difficult relationship with them. Ella's parents were incredibly hard on her. My son even mentioned being shocked at how they spoke to Ella sometimes. They also put themselves before Ella. I saw their treatment of her firsthand at the wedding. It was disgusting. Something Ella truly loves is chocolate fudge cake. She never got to have it while her parents were present because neither of them likes chocolate. They wouldn't even allow her a chocolate cake for her birthday. It was always their favorite red velvet cake, decorated like it belonged to a grown-up, not a child. Even after Ella flew the nest, she felt pressured to conform and get a red velvet cake for her birthday. Robbie encouraged her to get the cake she wanted, but she would always tell him it wasn't worth the fight. I've always loved baking, and baking for my family is something very near and dear to me. I always try to make a chocolate fudge cake for Ella because of her love for them. She's always said they're her favorite because they're made with love, and she appreciates that more than anything. So Ella turned 25 last weekend, and she had a party with her family and our friends. Robbie was upset on her behalf that Ella was being pressured into the red velvet cake again by her parents, so I stepped in and asked Ella if she'd be okay with me making her cake, and if so, I told her I'd be making her cake, the chocolate fudge cake that she loves so much. She wasn't sure at first, but then she told me she'd love that. I told her that she could blame me 100% if her parents complained. I also added that she deserves better than being treated that way. I made her the chocolate fudge cake. Ella was so happy. Her parents were not. I immediately intervened when I saw they were about to scold Ella for her cake. I told them I'd made it and wanted to make Ella's favourite. They asked me who I thought I was and told me their daughter always had red velvet birthday cakes, which was how it was supposed to be. They huffed and puffed like children for the rest of the party, and then I got a few text messages from them with complaints about my actions. Ella also didn't escape their anger. She told me it wasn't my fault, but she admitted she had difficulty dealing with the fallout. Robbie encouraged Ella to start some therapy to learn how to navigate things with her parents better, so she's hunting for one as I type this. Her parents have not let up, and they're being unreasonable. They're also still furious with me. Their anger at Ella is where my guilt comes in, and I have to ask, am I the idiot? She told me it was not my fault, but she admitted she had difficulty dealing with the fallout. Fallout over cake? How petty and immature are Ella's parents? Good Lord, you are not the idiot, and bring chocolate cake to every event you're invited to, and even the events you're not invited to. Have chocolate cake delivered to their Airbnb when they travel on vacation. Bring on the chocolate fudge blitz. Constantly escalate over crap this petty. Wow, just wow, you're the hero. My heart breaks for Ella, having been raised by a pair of petulant 5-year-olds. I genuinely hope therapy works for her and that she gets the courage to stop contacting those awful people. It's so lovely to hear about a positive mother-in-law-daughter-in-law relationship. That's really unusual. I'm glad that Ella finally has a nurturing mother figure in her life. Thanks for stepping up for her.